Interesting. We just had the room opened and I had a meeting with my team, which took some time. And I said, okay, let me come back in here and, start it again. So I think you guys probably got like a good snippet. And I hope the replays are for both, which would be really nice. So I wanted to welcome you to the room and welcome you so much to just being in this space because we're going to talk about Reddit and Quora. What's better and why? And why we are talking about these two amazing products is because, and I'm actually going to use data for this research, actually, because it's going to help us know what people are actually using, why they're using them, and for what reason are they using them for. So, I'm actually in the process of typing as we speak, so I can search Quora and Reddit. It's going to be a great. It's going to be a great call. All right, so here we go. Welcome everyone. Welcome to room. Yikes! Actually looking at the results right now, and it's oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, you guys are going to be quite surprised at what I'm looking at because there's a lot of interesting results, really interesting results about Reddit and Quora. So, huh, this is going to be interesting. Reddit versus Quora. Welcome to the room. Welcome to the room. We're going to be doing some deep dive searches. I'm going to be going into different categories of search, and this is going to be, one of those rooms that we are going to tackle based on popularity and also based on connections. Like, where in the world do people use these things? Why? And the results are actually quite staggering, because you will see that there is a resemblance between these two platforms. A lot of people talk about Reddit and Quora, and Reddit was not so big. I mean, it's always been big, but Reddit was not so big up until when Google actually partnered up with Reddit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give you guys some research data because I like to back things up with data. So, talking about Google and Reddit partnership, this happened in February 2024, February 22nd. And this is why Reddit just slams Quora like slam dunk. All right, here we go. So I've just put the link at the top. So that is a publication from Google, like Google's blog, just to tell you that they have deepened their partnership with Reddit, right? And then and it's so cool how Reddit did it. So let me actually give you guys the gist. So Google created an article, and I'm also going to show you the article that Reddit created so that you can actually see, the difference between the two. So, all right, here we go. I put that link in the chat. So if you notice, there are two links here, the link at the top and the link in the chat. The link in the chat gives you Reddit's post on their website talking about expanding our partnership with Google. It says over the last 18 years, Reddit has become one of the internet's largest open archives. Think about that. 18 years of authentic and constantly updated human generated conversations and experiences aligned with our belief that everyone should be able to find the information they need and the experiences they want online. We've expanded our partnership with Google to make it easier to discover and access the communities and conversations people are looking for on Reddit. That's what it says on Reddit's page. Then, if you want to learn more on Google, then you click on that, it takes you to Google. So what happened is Google and Reddit, they just didn't make a partnership. Because most times when we think about businesses, partnering, they're not just making a partnership business wise. Yes, that's a business move, right? But they also made a partnership online. In other words, they created an article, a press release, a documentation. They have a date. There's a date stamp, and it's news, right? It's product news, it's business news, it's tech news, it's social news, right? It's news, period. So that news article that they both written allows whoever is trying to doubt the partnership has valid, authentic, credible resource. You can't tell me Google and Reddit didn't partner because they said it themselves. So if you look at the way they did it, an expanded partnership with Reddit, and on Reddit, they say expanding our partnership with Google. So that gives you two different types of results, right? Because these types of results are getting you to learn more about the partnership. So Google just didn't write an article themselves, right? Google wrote an article and also Reddit wrote an article. The goal here is, what did Quora do, right? Because we are talking about Reddit a lot, but Quora is also in the picture, you know? And what you want to discuss or what you want to get right out of this is, what is the formula, what is the goal, and why is it important? Because we can talk about who's better, great, and then what, we're back to square one. The goal of this room is to address how things work and why things are working the way they are, so that as a business you can actually see the value that you're actually getting as an extension of the information you're receiving. Because when you think about what's better, right, the goal of understanding what's better and why is so that you can know how you can also do things better yourself. So there has to be some type of connection, because when you start thinking about where is Reddit being searched for and where is Quora being searched for, the numbers start to change. And I'll give you guys an example, right? I'm about to show you something. So I'm looking at a Google Trends search tool, right? And it's a tool I see beyond Google Trends. So I'm able to see web search, I'm able to see image search, news search, YouTube search. So between Reddit and Quora, right? Reddit is blowing up. So Reddit is really really way up. Let's say on a score of 95 to 1 to 3, and compared that, and that was in the last, let's say, 7 days, compared to 2019 where it's 42 to 3. So it's 94 to 3 in 2024, and in 2019 it was 42 to 3, meaning that Quora never really went above the 3. In other words, the market share was not really, it's not as big, or they don't really cover the pie as much as Reddit does, because Reddit partnered with Google, so that partnership took everything, to the roof. So the goal here is to understand, why is it better and what's better and why does this even matter? The reason why this matters is because if people are interested in Reddit, and the top countries that people are interested in Reddit are Canada, 100%, United States, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland. There are 59 regions, but I'm only going to give you the top 5. And then if I break it down to the top cities in the world, because I'm looking at it from a worldwide map, wow. So the top cities are Seattle, Burnaby, I don't know where that is, Richmond, it got to be Richmond, Virginia, Vancouver, and Irving, that's California. So we're talking about there are 34 cities, and I'm just telling you the top 5. So if I know that I have an audience in Seattle, an audience in Vancouver, and I want to send a message, or I have a connection or a business or some type of leverage or something to do with information that people on Reddit can get to, then I would use community news or anything related to these cities, and either do something like a workshop or create some type of packaging that allows me to, whether it's a blog, a podcast, it doesn't have to be something too serious, but something you can use as a digital asset to relay information and expand connections. That way, when people are connecting with you online and they're searching for things there in Seattle, in Richmond, in Vancouver, in Irving, and Burnby, then you're creating an expansive element of surprise, right? And this element of surprise allows you to feel closer to this person because on a worldwide scale, right? Reddit is beating Quora hands down. But I just don't want to know who's winning. I also want to know what to say or why I should even be on Reddit or why I should be on Quora, right? The reason why you want to be on these platforms is because these platforms allow you to go beyond Google, right? If Google partnered up with Reddit, there's a reason why. If you go to your Google search area, right, on Google search, you'll see a section that talks about perspectives. You know how you can go on google.com, you see flights, you see images, you see news, you see shopping. There's a section that says perspectives. And if you go into that section that says perspectives, you're going to see Reddit results. You're going to see TikTok results. You're going to see YouTube results. You're going to see Twitter results or X results, right? You're going to see thumbnails from there. So if your Reddit post or your Reddit thread is within that pipeline where people are searching, let's say in Seattle, for example, and they're talking about something specific and they're using Reddit for research, and then you have an article that's pointed to Reddit to point them back to your website, then you're creating a double bridge because you're connecting to them and they're connecting back to you. The only way they can connect to you is if you connect to them. If I say hi to you, you're going to say hi back. If I don't say hi to you, you're not going to say hi back unless you want to say hi first. But if my intention is to say hi first, I won't wait for you to say hi first. So the point is, if you want to attract, connect, build, control, qualify, and also analyze your connections, right? Those connections have to come from a place of search. So we deal with heavy search optimization, getting you to that point where you can actually be seen. So I don't want to say what's better, what's not better. The goal is to make sure that you're connected all the way. And welcome, Blessed. Welcome as well, JM. Good to have you here. Stack. Welcome to Room, Niles, Cadillac, and Kareem. Saha, if you guys are free, please come up and let me know if you're available because I wanted to do a quick room here. So just to give you guys some ideas on this and why I'm even using these topics or speaking on these topics is because I gave this I gave a backstory on this yesterday, and I'll say it again today. These titles that I'm having on here have titles that I planned while I was on the plane for 3 hours, and I spent about 30 pages just reading, and I got about a whole 2024, 2025 calendar year strategy. So this topic, I just didn't think about it. I've done research and I'm documenting this process because when I know what people are searching for SEO wise, at some point they're going to find the information valuable. So I don't want them to find the wrong information, and I also want them to understand it. So that's why I'm giving you guys articles here. The blog article from Google, the one in the chat is from Reddit. You can see what they did as a business, because when you start looking, success leaves marks, clues. If you can see what Google Reddit did for that partnership, it also tells you where the world is going, where business is going, where tech is going, right? And where we're going is into a place where, it's called the Fediverse, right? You can check it out on Threads. It's a Fediverse. So in this world we're living in, when we're creating content, we also need to know where we're positioning our content, right? You don't have to be on Reddit every day. I'm not telling you to set up an account. All I'm saying is if you are there, be there and show up, say something, leave something good, and let people discover you. If you have a podcast, leave your links in there on Reddit. There's a podcast thread. There's a thread for everything. There's a subreddit for everything: finance, real estate, food, travel, Pinterest, social media, you name it. It's gardening, it's all there. It's up to you to decide where you want to connect. then you leave you, as long as you're you're compliant, you're following the policy, you're responsible, you're a good person, period, right? Then you can put content out there, let them know, you give them your 2 cents, and let them understand your concept from your perspective. And then guess what? You show up on Google perspectives outside Google because you're on Reddit. And because Reddit respects Google, or Reddit partners up with Google, Reddit is going to give priority to Google, and Google is going to give priority to Reddit. So if I have a link on Google, which is leading to my podcast website or my blog website or my landing page website, just to keep it general, that same link should also be on LinkedIn. That same link should also be on Reddit. That same link should be on Pinterest. That same link should be on YouTube. If you have a podcast, even better, because that link will go to all the platforms you're available on. So it allows you to be on a section more than one. So the goal is to make sure that you are seen and you're remembered. You're seen and you're remembered. If you can do those two consistently, then it's going to be great for you to actually connect the dots, because using a platform like Pinterest is great. Reddit is great. Quora is great. I'm not saying you should start creating accounts, but if you have a business, you have a podcast, you have a book, you have a show, you have something that people want to see, go online and talk about it through your website. Yes, it's great to be on all these other platforms. And I talked about it this week about zero party data, first party data, second party data, and third party data. If you want to be an authority in your niche, you need to acquire first party data, right? Because that first party data is going to allow you to have an asset as a business, because people are connecting with you. People on Quora, people on Reddit, people on Google, all of those people who have signed up to those accounts, we all have a Google account, a Gmail account. We all have a Reddit account if you use Reddit. If you're on Quora, you probably have a Quora account. All those accounts, when you sign up, even Clubhouse, all these platforms, all of them, what they have in common is first party data, because they have your email. You opted in, they didn't force you. So when you get a Google Gmail account, you created your Gmail account. Now that Gmail account has access to email, reception. So those are things that you have to think about as a business when you start thinking about the long-term plan. So Reddit versus Quora, what's better and why? Think about using Reddit to create connections with people. Use Quora to be in a space where people can actually learn from you. And that way you can actually fill in those categories, all together. So I hope this helps you. And I hope this was able to give you some ideas, because the goal I see here with Reddit, with Quora, with all these platforms is there has to be a balance. There has to be a balance. And the balance that you have to think about, right, is, you know, creating an experience that lasts long and people are not expecting it. It sounds like it's so far-fetched, and the whole idea of being online or being in a position that you can actually grow from is so that you can see how to build and build correctly. Welcome, John and Ryan. I was not even looking at my phone till you guys came in. Welcome to the room. Thanks for being here. Just going off data, going off, understanding the platform, understanding the goal. It's really to ask yourself, like, where is this information being sent out? Where are people connecting? Where are people learning from? Today I had a call with somebody in Denmark this morning. Just to give you some context, I met someone from Denmark this morning, and this actually, it made a lot of sense, and it was actually very interesting to hear, because I got to connect with somebody who, if you guys have heard of Calendly, you know about Calendly, right? So there's a website called CAL.com. And this is a new platform that, I mean, it's new to me because I've not heard it before, but it's a platform that you can actually, schedule calls and everything, and whatever you're paying on Calendly, you're getting it for free with Kyle. It's crazy. Like $15 a month that you could be paying Kyle will get you more than what you're paying Calendly, which you could get for free with Kyle. So I talked to one of the developers today. He's in Denmark, and I was like, yeah, we need to definitely let more people know, because in Europe, they know about this thing, but in the US, not many people know about it. So people are using what they're used to knowing, but I like to also figure out what the world is doing so that you can come into my world and learn about it, because we have a podcast, we have a show, and people learn a lot of things in this show. So I always make sure that I drop the information. If you hear it, great. Catch it, run with it. And that's why I like putting gems in my podcast, because I can't say everything every time. So anytime I say anything, then what I've said is something you can grab on and you can use whenever you listen to it and if you find it too. So it's like a good gem treasure island kind of, experience, if I can put it like that. So if you use cal.com, it's a great place to connect. So why am I bringing that up? Because if I go to Reddit right now and talk about Calendly versus Cal, people are going to be like, what are we talking about? We all know about Calendly, so what is Cal? So you're already introducing something to an audience because they're searching there. So if businesses, teams, professionals, people are looking for those things, then those are the kind of places that you want to build on, right? Because your goal is not just to create content, your goal is to inform with content. There's content, there's context. And contextually, when it makes sense, logically, it makes sense. CNTS. Because contextually, it makes sense. SENSE, right? The logical, the emotional, the psychological. When you start looking at those frameworks, you start to play big time into what is the initial goal, what is the actual value, what is the drag, where are we going with this information, and how long do we have to be in this position to learn about this. So when we now actually do this for other people, people can actually connect with us on these platforms. So yes, it's good to be on Reddit, it's good to be on Quora, but these platforms are just good to be on so that you can also have that breakout, right? It's one thing to have a website. It's another thing to have a website that people can actually connect with, right? If somebody clicks on your website and they learn something from you, they're going to stay. That's how things work, because when you start doing things like that, you start allowing people to get into your world, you start getting them to learn from you, you start building, and you start growing. So I know someone will listen to this and they'll learn something about Quora, they learn something about Reddit, and they want to know which one is better, why is it better, and then the search continues. So if I look at Reddit, right, I'm looking at a tool right now. I'm going to go into this a little deeper. And if you have any questions, please feel free to come up, ask me, put in the chat as well. In the last 5 years, yeah, let's do that. In the past five, okay, I'm going to start with the past month, past quarter, past year. So in the past month, Reddit has gone up 2%, right? In the past quarter, it's gone up 4%. And in the past year, it's gone up 6%. Now, on average, it's gone out 4%. And now, what are people asking on Reddit? Now, people are asking on Reddit, are Reddit ads worth it? How Reddit started? I'm just picking up on the words that actually make sense. How Reddit was made, how Reddit makes money. Why Reddit is better than Google. Then somebody says why Reddit is trash. Somebody says why Reddit is toxic. Why Reddit videos have no sound. So there are so many questions I'm seeing here from different places. So it got me thinking, okay, what about Reddit do people want to use this platform for? So when I go a little bit deeper into the search, that was worldwide search. Now I'm in the US. So now when I'm looking at it from here on Reddit, I'm looking at it even deeper, and now I'm seeing like where in the US are people using Reddit the most. Top five is Utah, Maine, North Dakota, Idaho, Washington. Now, why is this so important to me? Or why is this important to you? Or why would this even make sense? When I go a little bit down, wow, I can see there's a Reddit subreddit called Ask Reddit. It's a website. So that Ask Reddit, I'm actually going to go there right now as we speak because I'm giving you guys real-time information. I'm not just talking about it. So I'm going to Reddit right now and I'm going to do Ask Reddit. Boom. There are four, and I've been in this group too. So there are 47.7 million members. Let me say that again. They're set. Let me actually put this in the chat because I want you guys to see what I'm seeing. This is so important to look through. All right, boom. All right, I put the link up top. So that is a Reddit section. That's called Ask Reddit, right? There are 47.6 million members in here. There are 7.2 thousand people online. And this is a place where it says Ask Reddit is a place to ask and answer thought-provoking questions. So if you have thought-provoking questions, and you come to a platform like this, Ask Reddit, and I'm giving you guys like the sauce right here. Like if you follow this, you would do so well. If you use Ask Reddit and you go in there, you ask really good questions, like the questions you would ask me, you would ask Reddit, like, oh, what would happen? Somebody just said you just won $75,000 on a scratch off. What's your move? If you had a time machine, where would you travel back to? If what's your comfort movie? What is Gen Z doing? What is Gen Z doing differently when raising kids? Um, what's your secret to having healthy acne or free skin? You know, some crazy questions people are also asking in there, right? So if you go there and ask a question about your business or ask something that you're having a problem with and people actually like that question, and they check your profile, you're not promoting your business. You're promoting your brand. And what is your brand? An experience. So you ask them a thought-provoking question. Oh, that's a good question. Let me figure out who this is. Respond back. And then if you have an article to support it, might as well put an article there or a podcast link that will lead them to answering that question. So that way, you now actually have contextual value. You're not just going in there to ask a question so you can get a response and get someone to pay for something. You're actually going in there to add value to the conversation, to leave your link as a proof that you were there, and then to share that with other people so that you can actually be a topic of discussion when people are looking for you as a business provider to that solution that you can provide. So it's a give and take, but you have to give more. You have to spend time. You have to allow people to connect with you faster. So those are things that you have to think about as a business so that when you're thinking about the long-term effect, that's how you can get there. So I wanted to just show you that really quickly. And I hope that made sense as well, because sometimes these things may not be making as much sense, but it's a good place to, to connect if you really want to think about it too. So if you have any questions, put in the chat. If you don't, then I'm glad that I was able to be here for the meantime, share some things with you, give you some insights, and yeah, just give a whole idea of what we can do. So thank you, Blessed. Thank you as well, MG, Ryan, and Cadillac. Appreciate you guys for being here. And make sure you listen to replay. Click the link above. The replays are on. So if you want to come back here and listen, feel free. The other episodes I've done. So it'll be great to have you here again. So God bless you. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and I'm gonna catch y'all soon. Yeah, Bridget, we're about to close. We've had the replays are on. Just wanted to let you know the replays are on, and we've covered a lot of good stuff as well. So if I know everybody's busy, And I was just about to hit the plane sign. So I said, let me come to you, Bridget, because I haven't talked to you in a long time. How are you? How have you
I'm
been?
doing great. Thank you, Favor. I was looking forward to this room, so I'm definitely going to go back to the replay because I am a little confused which one is better. So I'm going to go back to the replay so you can tell me which one is better. Thank
Yes.
you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I've gone really, heavy on Reddit because when I did the comparison between Reddit and Quora, the difference was so like it's so huge because people, and I think the reason why majorly is because Google partnered with Reddit. So when Google partnered with Reddit, this was last year, February. Was it last year? Yeah, it should be last year. I put the link here. Actually, sorry, this year. I'm sorry, February 22nd, 2024. This year, they partnered like Q1 of this year, and that just set everything ablaze because Quora was not doing as well. When I look at their traffic charts, they started doing well in 2022, and then in 2024 it just dipped back to where it was. So Quora is good if you want to use it for research, but when you start thinking about who is using Quora today and what is being referred to on Quora, it's better to use Reddit. That's what I would say because you get more leverage, you have more presence, people find you on Google. There's a section called Google Perspectives. You get more information from there. Even if you have a Google account, a Reddit account, and your business is connected to that Reddit post, let's say you have a topic on, actually, let's role play, Bridget. What would you be talking about, with content on, whether as a podcast or as a blog on Reddit? What would you like have on there?
I didn't know you can have a podcast on Reddit, but a blog, I would definitely be talking about mindset, having a positive mindset.
Okay. So mindset is big on Reddit and Quora. So if you have it on mindset, actually, I'm going to go to Reddit right now. I go to the Reddit app and then I'm going to type in their mindset in the section. It's crazy. Reddit also have like Clubhouse spaces like we do here. So they do have live rooms. It's actually a great place to be. It's untapped, but it's a great place to be. So I'm looking at mindset, and when I click on communities, there's growth mindset, there's motivation and mindset, and then there's advanced running. So when I look at the top mindset option, they have about 3.4K members, and that's where people, they're number 21. There's actually a chart. There we go. Boom. So there's a chart. You know how on app stores, on the Apple Store, Google Play Store, you can see the charts. On Reddit, there are also charts. So you can get to see like what platforms are charting in the top 25. So right now the top 25 in the motivation and self-improvement are adulting, that's 545K members, hygiene, 83.8K members, productivity, 3 million members, self-improvement, 1.9 million members, adulting PH, that might be Philippines, yeah, 261K members, get disciplined, that's 1.7 million members, deciding to be better, 1.2 million members, get motivated, 22.6 million members, life, 110K members, how to not give a fuck, 780K members, motivation, 406K members, self-help, 182K members, PKSM, that I think that's personal knowledge management system, something like that, 27.2K members, GTD, I don't know what that means, but that's 39.3K. Congrats, like I'm 404K. Bed Bros 70.5K, female level up strategy. That's a great one too. 47.6K members. Confidence 300K members. Positivity 94.7K members. Phoenix app, that's probably an app, 1.9K members. The one I talked about, motivation and mindset, that is showing up at 21 out of 25. Then procrastinationism, that's interesting, 16.8K members. Body acceptance, 61.4K members, self-care, 45.9K members, and self-love, 55.3K members. The reason why I said I wanted to go through this full list is because a lot of people don't know that Reddit is a community. Just like Clubhouse is a community, Reddit is a community. And the thing about Reddit is that you can go in there anonymous and leave anonymous. Like you can leave a comment there, you don't even know who the person is because it's like gamer tags, like because I have a PlayStation 5. So when you play games, you have that PSN name, that PlayStation name, or that Xbox name, or that gamer tag name. Even if you're playing on your phone and you're playing games, you have those namer tags. You may not use your real name, you might use another name. So that's what people do on Reddit. But people on Reddit are very highly intellectual. They're very good. Austin is going crazy with the Xbox. I'm team PlayStation. So Xbox, I don't know. But I love Xbox too. Great, great. Both of them are great. So when you look at the platform and you go like there's a podcast, you can go to a podcast Reddit place. I've gone to Pinterest Reddit. You can literally be on those platforms and tell people about your show. Like Threads is a great place to do hashtag podcast threads. So if you're talking about motivation, self-care, and you now tap into, let's say there are 25, I've just listed 25 communities. Let's say you pick the top five out of those five, and then you calculate the total number of members in all five, and then do a 1 to 10% conversion rate, and now work backwards. And now actually fill them with information, feed them with information with links, not like, hey, buy this, buy that, or listen to this, listen to that. Tell them why they should even listen. Maybe give them some statistics, wow them so that way you whet their appetite. And now they feel like they actually need to listen to more because you've actually piqued their interest. So Quora and Reddit is a place to actually pique people's interest. And then when you pique into someone's interest, you now take that interest into a desirable action, which is now where they now click, connect with you. And people run ads on Reddit as well. So I'm going to talk about Reddit ads very soon. But that's also a great place for you to get people who are professional. Because if I'm on Reddit, I'm going to Reddit because I'm looking for something specific. Like for me, I didn't think clients would ever come from Reddit. It happened. An American that lived in Russia found my Reddit post talking about YouTube, like a 2 year post, and hit me up in the DM and say, hey, I need help with my YouTube account. We got on a call on Zoom. I was like, where are you located in Russia? I'm like, how did you find me on Reddit? I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. So, and that's something I did 2 years ago. So don't think about Reddit as a place to like just blast away. It's a place to actually leave quality information, and it can go crazy. I think there was a time when it was somewhere in the news, it was this year or last year, when somebody made a Reddit post about some stocks, and then something happened, and then they referred back to that Reddit post, which was done years previous. So it's a place for you to literally nest content, but also contextually aggregate your content to the communities on Reddit that actually are live, active, and actually have community. Because if somebody upvotes your comment, upvotes your post, upvotes your link, then that also boosts traffic and signals to the algorithm. Quora does the same thing, but Quora is more like answer response. But the way I see Reddit, it's more so of community based. Even though you may not know the person in that community, for you to give that information is already value enough for you to actually be part of that community. So I wanted to give like a deep dive because once you came in, a lot of people came into. So I wanted to give a quick rundown of what I've been talking about so that you can also see the concept and look at the bigger picture. So just by saying that, Bridget, what are you thinking now about these two?
Wow, I'm excited about Reddit. Now, you said something about can you upload videos on Reddit?
Yeah, you can.
Now, you can't do that on Quora, right?
Quora, I don't think they can do that. I mean, good question. Normally, when I see it on Quora, they're mostly like, that's why they're not as big as Reddit, because Quora, they're more so like information based, text based. It's like Tumblr, but without all the other features. But you can share knowledge. But I don't really see people go in. Like, I don't even have a Quora app. I'm sure they have one, but people mostly have a Reddit app than a Quora app. But Quora is there, but I think it's more so like just information based. But Reddit is more so like community engagement, threading and all those kind of things.
Wow, this was really, really good. And so you're saying you can actually build a community on Reddit where, just like Clubhouse type, you know.
You can. You definitely can. And they have rooms on Reddit. Like, let me actually check. If you download the app, you can actually see the rooms they have. If you go to, let me actually see. Let me see right now. So mostly people are not there all the time, but depends on the ones that you follow. So let's say you have a community and your community is online, then your community may have like these Facebook ads I'm seeing here. There's Amex. If you have your own podcast, you can create your own as well. And that gives you, free access to your community. So if you're active in a community, you can connect with people. And that's how people start finding you. It's a whole thing. And then all of a sudden, people start to look for your content. And then 2 years down the line, 1 year down the line, they're able to see you. So I would say if you don't want to create your own, I would say just go to communities that are already active and then be a part of that community, like Clubhouse or like Chatter or, any other platform. You can be there, be part of the community, not even have to say a word, see what's going on, and then even use it as research. You may not even need to say anything. You might just say, okay, I'm going to use this for research, see what people are searching for, and then come back later and then give them an article to support maybe a debate they were having. So that way they're like, oh, wow, somebody was actually listening, because you'll see that the thread keeps going. It gets longer and longer and longer. So I would be on Reddit more than Quora, because I know if I'm on Reddit, I know I'm guaranteed I could end up being on Google someday, because Reddit and Google have a partnership. Quora and Google don't have a partnership. You can still end up on Quora and still end up on Google, but the partnership is what strengthens the link. And that also gives you a better opportunity long term.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Favor.
You're welcome, Bridget. Anytime. That's what I wanted to, give you guys the scoop on. So I'm glad that you guys were here listening and, learning about these two platforms. They get very complicated in between, but I'll just give, one more thing I'll say before we wrap this up is when I when I was starting the business, the work and play entertainment business, I went to Quora because I typed in before I even typed in work and play entertainment, because people are like, why is it called work and play entertainment? Because there's a time for everything. The time to work, there's a time to play, there's a time to sleep, there's a time to be awake, there's a time for everything. And it goes with Ecclesiastes 3. That's how, work and play came together. So when I think about it, I went to I went online and I said, okay, let me type in work and play. What does that mean? I started seeing like a work and play workshop, work and play mechanic. I don't know, something not totally unrelated to the topic. And somebody now said, what is the difference between work and play? That was somebody that wrote that topic in, I don't know what year it was, but it was a long time ago. So I saw that on Quora. I said, okay, I'm going to respond back to this in reference to the business name. So I said, hey, there's a difference between work and play. Work is for this, play is for that. And then boom, I said, there's a business called Work and Play. So now when you type in work and play entertainment, then and if you type in like, Quora, then you'll be able to now see the difference. Somebody said, what's the fundamental difference between work and play / entertainment? So you'll see all kinds of things there. People that talk about different things, and then you have that information there. But people are not even talking about the business. They're talking about the literal concept of working and playing. Like, so it doesn't even have to do anything with my business, but the fact that you have a response there creates the avenue for someone to listen more to what you're trying to convey. Then on Reddit, you can have the same thing too. You can have a podcast Reddit page, or you can just be within the podcast Reddit channel or subreddit, and then put your links there. Just like you put your links on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Snapchat, wherever you are, you can still put your links to Reddit, and the best way to do it on Reddit is when you actually create an anchor text. And a lot of people don't do it this way, where you go on Reddit, right? I'm going to go on Reddit myself just to give you a quick exercise. So if I want to go on Reddit and I want to make a post, and they're going to give you a title, there are 3 sections. It's title, tag, and body text. So if in the body text, I want to write, listen to my podcast. And then, of course, you can put the name of your podcast there. So, like for me, I'll say We Don't Play Podcast. Now, I'm going to highlight the We Don't Play Podcast text. And then I'm going to hit the paperclip where it says insert URL. Now I'm going somewhere with this. So if I now do the We Don't Play podcast and then I now put it there, or let's say there's this topic, mental health or confidence or women empowerment. Now that you've put that link there, when the link goes out as a link, right? When somebody's making a comment, instead of somebody clicking on the actual link, the live link, you know how you send an email and you say click here and you highlight here? The same thing happens on Reddit. So when you tell someone to click on that specific link and your podcast is there, what you're essentially doing as an SEO strategy is you're creating a backlink automatically to your website. Not like a do follow backlink, because there are different types of backlinks. There's a do follow, there's a non follow, there's a no follow, but it's not a do follow. It's still a follow regardless, because you're putting your link on somebody else's property, Reddit, that's second party data, and you're using third party information to link them back to your first party website. So when you now say click here to listen to my podcast about sequencing, for example, music sequencing and dancing, whatever it is, you highlight those words and you have a blog attached to that text on Reddit and someone clicks on it, that link will lead them to your article. And what you've just done is you've activated your link to be part of a branded search or a non-branded search that is linked through Reddit, because it's signaling to Google that you have contextual information that's supporting that search phrase. So it's a good way to nest. That's what I said earlier. It's a good way to nest your link on a platform like Reddit, because you end up on Google Perspectives, which is a place where people look for perspectives about a topic. So if your perspective becomes the perspective people listen to 4 years later, 2 years later, 10 years later, that is what they're going to refer back to. And it's a good place for you to actually have content, because Reddit is guaranteed traffic. And just by the looks of what I saw today on the map, Reddit is beating Quora hands down year over year for the past 5 years. So I would highly be on that platform too. Does that help, Bridget?
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. And I was in earlier when Dr. Fashion was on, and I am so excited about what she's doing on YouTube. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a real YouTuber who has receipts. I'm really excited about. I'm going to her page and gonna follow her and just listen to her. So that's really good.
Amazing. Yeah, go
Thank
ahead,
you.
Dr. Cash.
Oh no, I just want to. I just want to say thank you, Bridget, because you know me, Favor. I'm really big on receipts, and so when I shared my $1 million story online, and then also with YouTube, they actually came to my properties. So when you say receipts, I'm like, yo, they showed up. And really, it was just me walking them through what I did with the money I made on YouTube. So I invested in real estate. I gave a lot of money back to my communities and so much more. But you'll be able to see all that on my Instagram, of course. But yeah, thank you, Bridget. I appreciate it.
That's what I'm talking about. Empowerment. It's a good thing, because when you think about these platforms, they are free, but I think the time that you spend is not free, because you can't get that back. But if you can spend enough time on a platform, you can do what Dr. Fashion's doing. You can do what Bridget's doing. You can do what Sean's doing. You can do what I'm doing. And we can do what you're doing too, because we want to help each other grow. We want to enlighten each other. It's not just about one channel, it's about the one person you're impacting that will impact the others. So this is great. I'm glad I kept this room going, because I even said it when I kicked off this room. I had a team meeting And that team meeting came in between because I had to connect with everyone at the same time because we have a whole new policy going on, and it just spilled over. And I was like, damn, the room is open. So I had to finish up with them, and then I had to kick off the room. So I'm glad that we're here. And I'm really treasuring the times I'm spending on Clubhouse more. Not that I haven't, but I think now it's even more intentional because me coming here daily, if it's for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 30 minutes, I know that it's going to help somebody out there. And that's the goal. I'm not just here to talk, I'm here to impact. And as we impact others, we enlighten ourselves, and we also become a shining light for others to see through us. And then they can also have others to see through them. So it's a cycle of life. We have to keep this going. So thank you for that. Appreciate you so much. Sean, thanks for being here. How are you? Oh, I had a phone call. Can you guys hear me? Sean, we can't hear you. Can you guys hear me or Sean?
It's Sean. He may have to go out and come back in.
Okay, it's probably there was an update on Clubhouse recently. So I see you, Dr. Pratt, come into the stage. Thank you for being here, man. Thank you for being here. All right, let's try it again.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
This,
Are you on the web or you're on the phone?
no. I'm back on the iPad. I finished with all that testing. I'm testing some other stuff now, but yeah, just glad I had to go in and come back out. And I sound good. It's fine. I'm
Yes.
good. Okay. A couple of things. Yeah, definitely glad you kept the room open, and I want to thank you for that because I had no idea what the hell Quora was. Just looked at it, and I'm like, oh man, I got to clone myself again to be on Quora now. To be on here, to be doing all this other stuff, but to give value. It looks it looks right down the middle as far as me just trying to get the knowledge out there about audio and even about podcasting. I'm looking at this and it's just amazing. I'm gonna have to delve into it and hopefully can go in and give some value and answer some questions. Reddit, I've been hesitant. I always just kind of dive in, see what's going on in different areas, and come back out. But again, man, I gotta make another clone so I can do all this stuff. But thanks for. I'm always learning, man. So this is great. Another avenue of increasing your sphere of influence. And as I always say, my motto is I learned early so you could learn now. And Martin, that picture, wow, that's a great picture, man.
Hey fam, I hear you. Favor, I was with you. With thank you, Sean. With intentionality, I feel the same thing. The pull on each platform is interesting, though. It's being I definitely haven't been coming to Clubhouse until I guess 2 weeks ago. More. Hold on a second. This kid is at. So hold on a second. My daughter got into our closet. I have a 3-year-old. Give me those. Um, and I appreciate what you said about impact. It's definitely more important nowadays to really help each other out with these platforms are so intricate, and what's working on one platform is not working on another platform. So
You're right. You're totally right on that. Like my time here on this app has it's morphed. I can't even say it's changed. It's morphed because before I would like if I look at the number of rooms I've done on Clubhouse, I wish I could just scan it and just do a random like scan, just run through it and see how many rooms we've done times the hours, times the screen time, times the number of weeks. And it's like you keep pouring into people, they receive it, they receive it. It's like a faucet. It just keeps going. And then at some point you realize, wait a minute, if all this water is going down, how much water is being stored in the reserve, or how much water are we reproducing? So when I look at those simple formulas, I come back here and I'm like, okay, if I'm going to use Clubhouse, Chatter, LinkedIn audio, those are my three areas of audio, conversations that I'm having. And I'm doing them with the intention of making sure that somebody's heard, somebody's appreciated, somebody can actually connect, then I don't mind spending hours here because I know I don't have to repeat this topic again for the next number of years. I may have to bring it up again, maybe for some context, but I'll refer you back to the original, which is this room, because that way it brings in SEO, it brings in relationship building, it brings in engagement, it brings in watch time, it reduces bounce rate, it has a sphere of influence. There's more connections you're building in between the blocks. You're creating avenues for people to actually connect with you faster because you're showing up at a faster rate. And then when people actually see you everywhere, they're like, why are we doubting what we can see? Because they say seeing is believing, right? So if we can believe in what we see, even if we have faith in what we want to see and we can't see it, knowing the fact that we can actually see it in our mind, it means we can hold it in our hand. And you've heard this before, people have talked about it before. It's a famous quote. So if you can see those things, practically see them happening, and then putting them out there on platforms like Reddit or Quora, it's great. Even have a Reddit app. Like for me, I've been using Reddit. Let me go to my profile. I've not been there for long, but I have a profile. It says I have two achievements and I'm 3 years old on Reddit. That's my age. I'm 3 years old there, right? And just having an account. I'm not having an account if so that I can, build something or create something. I joined Reddit because I wanted to listen. And this is like during the time 3 years ago, that was what, 2021? Yeah, so that was the time when I remember, yeah, I was heavy on Pinterest and I'm still heavy on Pinterest. So at the time, I was doing a lot of Pinterest rooms here on Clubhouse. I would go live on the Facebook group on Clubhouse. I'll be using Ecamm. I'll use Ecamm. Dr. Fashion remembers those days. I'll go on Ecamm, stream live on Facebook, show you my Pinterest account, and show you what I'm doing, teach you how to use Pinterest, from Clubhouse to Zoom, from Zoom to Facebook. It was a whole thing going on. Then around that time in 2021, I said, I want to go a little bit deeper because, yeah, we're talking about Pinterest here. And at that time, Clubhouse was the only app that was really active social audio wise. I mean, there was Green Room, there were other apps, but activity wise, Clubhouse, and that's where my time was spent. If I don't even think LinkedIn audio was available then. May correct me if I'm wrong, but activity wise, Clubhouse, that 2021 was here. And I said, let me go on Reddit to see what people are talking about on Pinterest. Come to find out, I've been using Pinterest. I keep seeing it on Google, but I didn't have an account. So I said, I'm going to create a free account so that if I want to say anything, I can use my account and not a ghost account. So I said, I'm going to set it up, and started connecting with people on Reddit. I started noticing the threshold and the impact of Reddit when I started actually connecting my website to Reddit. Because initially I was not going there to post, I was going there to listen. I was there like, let me just listen, read, take notes, understand, come back, connect. But I wasn't going there to post. One day I was like, you know what? Somebody's asking a question about something and I have an answer to it. And the answer is in my article about Pinterest marketing strategy. This was when I knew this thing is crazy. I put my link of Pinterest marketing strategies on Reddit. And I said, this was 3 years ago. I said, hey, here's a strategy. Here's how you can actually use Pinterest as a marketer. Here's a comprehensive tool. So for the whole of 2021, 2022, 2023, Pinterest marketing strategy was something that I was just ranking, and I'm still ranking for it, but I've gotten some new insights. People want courses, people want content strategies. Like I've just been getting buckets of content, first party data, right? And now it allows me to go back to Reddit to help those same people with the information, right? And sometimes we can't teach everything, but what we can show is enough for them to do their research. And that way they feel better because when somebody is in search for something, the natural state of mind is to find a relief in finding what they search for. If I keep searching for this tool, if I keep searching for this video, if I keep searching for this podcast and I can't find it, I'm going to be tired. and I'll give up and I'll just throw in the towel and I'm not coming back. You don't want that for your customers. You want them to come back every chance they get. So if you're teasing them with an article, a podcast, a link, a blog, of something of that sort, Reddit is the greatest place to put it in because you're connecting with communities. Just like on Clubhouse, there are communities. On Reddit, there are communities. So if you talk tech, if you talk real estate, if you talk food, if you talk business, if you talk marketing, if you talk relationships, there's a place for you there. And you can go in there, connect, just like you go to a Facebook group, a LinkedIn group, you can go to a Reddit group. Now, where it's beneficial for you as a business, right, is when you start putting your links, and I'm going somewhere with this, when you start putting your links on Reddit naturally, right? You're just putting them on Reddit, you're letting people know about you. You're not even telling them about your business. You're just telling them about the problem they need solved in form of a question answered in the format of a blog or a podcast. So text, audio, video, right? In a blog, a podcast, it could be video podcast, a vodcast, or it could be a podcast, an audio podcast, or it could just be an audible. It could be a book, right? It could be anything, but something that is tangible, that has an exchange value in your favor, right? So when you create content on Reddit and you start to put your links on Reddit as destination links that have reference, basically you're putting out a podcast episode. Oh, we're talking about how to deal with mental health, in 2024. Okay, I have a podcast. I did a topic on this and I featured these people. Here's an episode. You post it there, it's gone. People go to click on that, they listen to your episode. 2-3 years later, someone is sending you an email or someone is sending you a message. It happens. It happens. So when you're going there, you're not going there to, it's like you're building, when you plant a tree, you're not expecting to get a fruit, an apple or an orange or guava, the next day. You're waiting for that 10, 20, 30, 40 years, that 100 years later, your children's children can benefit from that, because it's an investment, right? You may not even benefit from the investment, but your children will, your children's children will, right? I started a podcast because I want one day to my kids' kids to, listen to my podcast, connect with me, and just learn from, stories that I've brought to the show, whatever episode they're on, right? Just because there's legacy in mind. It's not just because I want to write episodes. It's fun, but the goal is to build and that impact, to keep scoring, to keep growing. So when you start thinking about where you're placing your content, it's great to put it on Reddit, because when you put it on Reddit, you're putting your link there. It's free. It's so free. You choose your community, you put your article, you put your video. Don't just put a YouTube video there, because guess what? You'll send them to YouTube, and then they get lost. They might watch your video and then they may not subscribe. So the goal is send them to your website. One, you're creating a backlink opportunity between Reddit and your website. If you send them to YouTube, you're creating a relationship between Reddit and youtube.com. That's the basic formula. So you send them to your article on your website that has your YouTube video inside the article. So when they're watching the video on YouTube through your article on Reddit, you're getting watch time and compounded interest. So you're now allowing people to listen to your podcast on YouTube through your website, which is now being hosted on Reddit. And now you're getting that times the number of people finding you there. Then when you have that, you have a pop-up, they sign up to your email list. That's a win. So the goal is not just to post away. The goal is to post with a strategy, so that when people connect with you, you can read the data in 28 days, in 90 days, in 365 days, and then do your analysis and see which one is better. And that way, when you start looking at your downloads, your traffic, your impressions, your business, your scores, you can attribute Reddit to it, because you actually added value through the platform. Does anyone have any question?
Just a quick comment. I love what you're saying, Favor. And a lot of podcasters, a lot of the clients I deal with, they'll make multiple changes simultaneously, and then it becomes impossible to track what affected what. And they always, more often than not, don't give enough time to see and analyze a trend. So the two things, if you're going to make a change, make one change, give it 2 to 3 months. I usually say a quarter. If they're getting antsy, we can go 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But change one thing so you know, oh, I pulled that lever and that this is what changed. And don't change 2 or 3 things. It's going to be hard to track. And then give it enough time to see the trend. Like I said, I like a quarter, like you were saying, 60, 90 days. But if people get antsy, I go, okay, well, let's look at 3 weeks, 4 weeks and see what happens.
Yeah, 100%. I think when you look at that scaling, especially even with podcasts, it's like you don't know which episode is going to rank. You don't know which blog is going to rank. It's like music. Even artists, when they make music, I'm in the entertainment business industry. When you have albums dropping, music dropping, it's the fans that decide. It's the customer that decides. They want this song to be the song that hits, because it hits different. And if we can just let the wave go and just post and connect with people, then the right things will happen and then you connect back. It's so important to look at these things long term, because these things can really help your business, and it could be great stories for you to tell on Reddit, because people go on Reddit to tell their stories. They go to tell their stories, and those stories they tell are wild stories. It's like Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram in one. And then if you go there on the business side and you actually even show a little bit of your personal side, some comical sides, then it's also going to give you that, comfortability too. So yeah, I love that comment. Just looking at Reddit in a different way is big, because when you start putting your links on Reddit consistently, when you decide to run ads on the same platform, you're going to be sending people to your domain. That's the goal. So if you've been sending them to your website for the past year or two, and then one day you decide to run an ad on Reddit and you're sending them back to the same website or maybe to the same domain, then you've created a relationship between your website, the community, and their website. I'll say that again. You've had like a triad relationship between your website, the community, and their website. So when you connect your website to their website through the community, then the community decides which article, which podcast, which newsletter, which link gets more attention. Then when you decide to look at that attention score, the graph, and it's making sense and looking at it all around, that Reddit post becomes a post you can actually connect with people on and tell people, hey, if you want to listen to this podcast, here's a backstory, exclusively on Reddit. Here's where you get my notes or my backstory. You can write an article, you can write something about, Reddit, on Reddit rather, and say, hey, this is why I did this episode. If you're interested, listen to this, hope you enjoy it. Those kind of things, giving people exclusivity, because people like exclusive things. So if you're going to give a story exclusively on a platform like Reddit, then you're going to go to Reddit because every time an episode drops, there's something that I say on Reddit that you wouldn't find on any other platform. You may flip that and do the same thing on LinkedIn, or do the same thing on Pinterest, or do the same thing on your TikTok, and explain something that you don't explain on other platforms, so that people have to go to that specific platform to hear or read what you said, to actually understand or fill in the gap, or kind of, what's the word, fit in the puzzle or complete the puzzle. Yes, Sean.
I just got a question for, just for everybody, anyone who can answer. And I know it's a generality, but I know in general, Pinterest, usually female, a little bit older, more disposable income. What, in your perception, is the demo for Reddit? Or is it just completely open?
Great question. So what I like to do, because Reddit recently partnered with Google. So I think it went up like 500 million users. So there's a way to track it, but when you look at the statistics, according to Exploding Topics, I actually want to give you guys some context, and that's a great question, because I like to give insights. Let me see. I'm gonna paste the link here.
Well, while you look at that,
Yeah.
and there's a reason for all that, is because so many people they put their energy into said social media where in real because they're told so, but then that demographic has nothing to do with their target audience. And then they get burnt out and they wonder, well, why is that not working? Oh, I have to be there. You mentioned it yesterday, right? The FOMO. I got to be on TikTok. Well, do you? What's your podcast about? Is your audience on TikTok? What's the demo on TikTok? If it's not, if it's two ships passing in the water, you're wasting that energy, effort, possibly money. And so many people get discouraged because they have to take back what they put in and think, okay, oh my God, it's not working. And they get down on themselves. When in reality, it's a statistical thing. It's a 1 and 0. It's not emotional, right? So when you figure out, hey, my demo's on this platform and you're seeing results, then you can do that. But do a little bit of research. And, I don't know what the Reddit demo is. I can definitely Google it and stuff, but I figured I'd ask here. And the same for the other social media platforms. It changes too, but make sure you're putting your energy in the right place.
I love that. So true. Yeah, because it has to make sense. And I think the reason why you have to also look at the platforms is where the chips fall. Because I know Reddit is off the top. I already know Reddit is male dominated because it's so like I don't hear women talk about Reddit a lot. They would rather be on Pinterest than Reddit. And then, Pinterest is also not women heavy either because they're also men and also college kids, they're children on Pinterest. Whenever I remember seeing a little girl in a school, she was using Pinterest, I think, to like sew a dress, and she had to use Pinterest to like get the inspiration. So I was seeing that on her iPad just by looking. Like that's just a thought in my head because I could visually remember that. So people will naturally use Pinterest to gather their ideas, get their thoughts in. Reddit is more like, okay, what are people talking about? What's the story? And looking at Reddit, there are over 100,000 active subreddits, and more than 500 of those have at least 1 million subscribers. But when you look at the demographics, most of them on those demographics, if you look at the subreddits, they're funny. Funny has the highest number of subscribers, 56.6 million. So if you're a comedian, if you have funny podcasts, if you have some comical value in your business, if you have something to say that's funny, then you can go to the funny subreddit. There's Ask Reddit, that's 45 million. There's gaming, 39.5 million. So let's say you have gaming sponsors or you do Twitch or something like that, you can be on there. There's All. I'm sure that is probably like something to do with romance. There's World News. That's 35.4 million, 34.9 million. Today I learned. That's 34.7 million. There's music, movies, science, pics, memes, shower thoughts. 27.9 million subscribers are subscribed to Shower Thoughts. Jokes, news, videos, space, Ask Science, there's Earth Porn, and there's books, and there's food. So I'm just reading off what I'm seeing. So when you look at all the list of things there, if your audience fits into any of those categories and you're in the 50 million, 20 million, 10 million threshold, have your link in there. 1% value is great for you because that 1%, if you actually have value in that podcast episode, in that blog, you could end up being posted on Google within the 3 pack, because it's Google perspective. So the goal is not just to post away on Google or Reddit. The goal is to add value there so that if somebody needs your perspective, Google can credit you as the author of that perspective result, leading back to that, Reddit pin you did a year or two ago. So yeah, Reddit pins usually have a 1 to 3 year timeline. So 12 to 48 months, you can really do a lot on that platform if you just really specifically target that. So that's what I would do on Reddit. Quora doesn't do it as much, but Reddit will give you more just because of the search, the partnership with Google, and also the amplification that it's been able to bring to the platform. Does that help, Sean? Amazing. Thank you so much.
It's,
Go ahead, Dr. Martin.
no, I was gonna say to Sean's question, I I years ago used to be on Reddit all the time, and actually, my wife and I hacked Reddit for a couple of projects we worked on to get attention to those projects. When I was on Reddit all the time, and then she kind of took over, you can create a demographic that is attractive to your service or product. I laugh because this was back when BuzzFeed was really hot, and BuzzFeed used to let you create a page where you could basically buzz your own stuff. So I would buzz. This is pretty much what Favor is talking about now. Is what we used to do. I would say uh, 2013, 2014, and it worked. It worked decently. Probably worked better today than before because more people there. That said, for me, Reddit's subject from for what I do, it's super toxic, and I can't get any customers from Reddit. I wouldn't even try. But that's me, and that's the space that I'm in, and the demographic that I attract, and what I'm talking about. Um, I think if you were, like with Pinterest, I don't have anything for Pinterest either. But I do think that each platform serves a purpose, and I am definitely seeing more people talk about. I don't know how to pronounce the Q platform, but I see more people using them and talking about them, which is why I think they probably went to the for pay what do you call it, model. I think it's interesting, answering people's questions. I also think that Reddit, Pinterest, and the Q platform have models that you could use in your own content. Asking a question, answering people's questions, having a Q&A day, having a Q&A or a story time, story time Thursdays. I just got a phone with a client whose her video on Instagram is at 40 million, and it's a video of her uncle coming out in his pajamas to meet her. She had a car accident, and she's like, "What do I do to benefit from this content?" I said, "Well, did you tell people about the backstory to why your uncle shows up in his pajamas on the side of the road to help you with your accident? Is that a characteristic of your family? Do you have history that way? Is that something you do?" And it turns out her last video she posted that went viral on Instagram is her and her nephew. She shows up for her nephew at his graduation when his dad couldn't. So I was like, look, that's part of your family legacy. So like, do a story time to give people the backstory to, where how you guys always show up as a family for each other. And that's something as Favor is talking about. Reddit is known for his stories, right? And so same thing with Pinterest. Um, Creating a board or a section on your social media for people to quote unquote pin or to share or to tag their family and friends in whatever product or service or tip. Like I say, we have Tip Tuesdays and Tip Thursdays. Here's a tip, but who do you think in your life can use this tip? Go ahead and tag them to, which is kind of a similar concept to pinning things in Pinterest. Um, uh, I think there's models in each business model that we're talking about that work perfectly for people outside the platform to emulate in their social. But to Sean's point, all these platforms have a specific demographic that tracks, and if you definitely need to know who you're trying to attract and who you want to and where you want to send them and where are they landing. Are they landing in your inbox? Are they landing on your SMS, your texting? Are they landing as subscribers to your YouTube channel? And what does success actually mean for you versus just getting a like, getting a share, getting a repost? Is that success for you, or is it success for them to come into your webinar on Sunday and go ahead and sign up for your course, or go ahead and purchase something, or what does that mean, and how you find that success on each platform? You really have to know what you're looking for and what that success means for you and your service or your intention. I think that's what's really interesting about today. We can be very intentional and succeed a lot. or you can be not as intentional and be all over the place. It's really our choice.
That's deep. That's deep. Thank you for bringing that up. I was thinking as you were speaking, I was like, okay, should we get a Reddit account or a Quora account? And if we get a either account, what are we going to do with those accounts? Whether it's a podcast, a business, a brand name. And as you were speaking, I said, let me just go online and see what's going on Reddit, just to have a fresh, deep dive.
Favor, a quick question about the podcast thing. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm curious to see what you say about this. Um, my metric for success with a podcast today isn't a listen. It's hold on one second. This child is this threw my router all over the place. um, but my success for a podcast today is, does the podcast have merchandise, and how many listeners are signed up to their private community or signed up to get exclusive content from them? So what do you see as success with a podcast today?
great question. I go with stats, data. I go with real information, and all these downloads are great, but what I've come to see is the icing on the cake, the thing that really moves the needle, the essential thing is two things. It boils down to two things, and it's on listennotes.com. It boils down to your listen score and your global ranking. Those are the two most important things for any podcaster. If you're not above, let's say, a 30 and above listen score rating, you can be on a 510 score rating, which is fine. But when you start hitting 30 and above, because the top ones are like in 50, 60, 70, it's really hard to even get to 30. You have to be in podcasting for at least, I would say, a good 3 years, if not more. You can get there fast too, because you can have quality, you can be a celebrity, boom, everybody's on your channel, you just get a surge in traffic, and then the algorithm is geared up, because the only reason why you're at that level is because of the activity. So if your activity is in a faster note, then you can get to 1 million followers in 20 days compared to somebody getting to 1 million followers in 20 years, right? Because of the traffic, because of what you're doing. So if you're using podcasts as a metric of success, I wouldn't use merch or downloads, because that's subjective to the podcast host. Some people may just they don't want to do merch. Some people just want to talk for 1 minute. For me, it's down to the listen score. And why is the listen score so important? Because when you look at the listen score, it tells you how trusting your voice is. That's the first thing. A listen score is like, it's proportional to, or it's the same thing as your domain authority, which is your domain score for your website. If that score is up, anytime you release something and it's new, you don't have to go through the wait list or to the queue. Google already knows who you are, so you end up at the top of the page. That's why when you see headline news or you're seeing what's going on the web, like what happened yesterday with politics, if you go online and you search, whoever you find at the top of those searches are people who have authority. And why do they have authority? Because they have first party data. And how do they acquire first party data? By connecting with you on a interpersonal level, right? And that interpersonal level is emails. So if you have a website that has a podcast, that has an email sign up that you're sending emails through, if you have a LinkedIn newsletter, you're sending emails to them because LinkedIn allows you to send emails. If you have a YouTube, you get email sends too. When you start to get people subscribing to your show, and you have that first party data, not subscribing to your YouTube or your Apple Podcast or your Spotify, and they follow you, you don't have a contact. YouTube has that contact. LinkedIn has that contact for the subscriber. You know, Apple has that contact. Spotify has that contact. You don't. So you're on the receiving end and you're the one that's getting the last. It's like a 360 deal and you're the one getting the last piece of the pie. You should be getting the first piece before it's distributed to everyone else. So how do you take control back, right? How do you take quality back? By focusing on your listen score, which means for every episode you release, there should be a consistent flow of context that allows you to be the person to be trusted in a certain niche. So if I'm talking about health and fitness, I'm talking about mental wellness, or I'm talking about sports or tech or business or marketing, and I talk about that in my show within different parameters, different guests, different voices, different sounds. Over time, I'm going to get a score. And that is like a credit score. The more you keep using your credit, the more you pay it back, the more you get your clearance. It's like a credit score. So the longer you have a credit score, if your credit line is 15 years, you have 15 years leverage compared to somebody who just signed up 15 days ago. So when you think about your score, on listen notes, and your score is determined by how many episodes you have. What is your cadence? And cadence means for every 2 to 10 episodes, you need to have at least one new episode. So if you release an episode today, you have between today and the next 10 days to release another episode. The closer you get to 2, 3, 4, 5, out instead of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 every other day, then you become someone that actually refreshes the algorithm. Because whenever you hit publish on your podcast and it goes everywhere, the algorithms are triggered. It means that you have something new to give because there's a date stamp, there's a time stamp, there's an author stamp, there's a credit stamp. Like those stamps are there because it actually tabulates into your catalog. Like a library, you go into a library, you know that this is the A section, the B section, the C section, the D section. You know, okay, there's DA, DB, DC, DD. Then inside DD, you're gonna see DDA. Like it's very systematic. So if you have content and that content has a listen score, then that listen score is going to appreciate over time because people are spending at least 25% listening time on your episode. You may have a 30-minute episode and they might listen to 25% of it. 25% times the number of episodes increases your benchmark score. So the goal is not to just drop one episode that's for 3 hours or 10 hours. The goal is to drop at least one episode a day or every other day so that within a 52-week calendar year, you have impact across each of those months. Even if it was one episode a month, it's better than none a month. Then the next one after the listen score is your global ranking. These two scores are not determined by you nor me. It's determined by third-party websites like listennotes.com. When you connect your website, your podcast to Listen Notes, anyone who has a podcast in this world is on Listen Notes. It's like Google. So listennotes.com is a Google, it's like Google, but for podcasts. So if you check your podcast and you have one, it's there, it will tell you. If you don't see a listen score and if you don't see a global ranking, it means you've not hit those records yet. That's how I'll know. So if you've hit those records before, if you actually have those numbers, it will tell. Just like if you have 1 million subscribers, shout out to Dr. Fashion, you will see those results. You see those numbers. You don't have to second guess because they are there. It's live data. So when you look at a podcast on listennotes.com and you see your podcast showing this, and that, then you already have that authority because you've been accredited. It's like going to the bureaus and you're being accredited for what you do as a profession, as a skill. So when we look at the bottom line, I love the fancy stuff, the titles, SEO, all that's great, but it boils down to the numbers because podcasting is hard to track data because everybody listens to podcasts from everywhere. So for you to decentralize that is going to be hard. So you rather focus on a third party platform that gives you first party data. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. I would be open to having a slightly different side or a another side of the coin because on the brand sponsorship, so for me the ROI are those things, but they're also for smaller podcasters who are spending all this money for, getting their podcast together and putting it out there and everything. They're looking for what's the return on investment, Martin. And when I go to a brand or go to let's just say FanDuel or somebody like that, that's spending money currently on podcasts, they're looking at, well, yeah, you have a trusted score, and your position is good, but how many of your listeners are actually purchasing things from you? And so I feel like that's the last mile when it comes to podcasting. I think it should be one of the first, to your point about having that email list is super important initially. I don't think it should be the third thing you do. I think you should really open the door with, "Hey, love to you join our podcast. We'll drop our episodes to you first, or whatever you decide to do, metric to give people an incentive to join your email list." And then, based on everything you just said, Favor, in addition to that, I think the credit score is of the whole credit score is a total picture of, we have a great um, listening score. We have a good position globally, or decent position, but we also have 2,500 people. Of those 2,500 people, 15%, so over 250 people, purchase stuff from us every month. And that is what I've been finding. It makes the brand deal. We have customer base. People don't just trust us, and you may or may not make it with us. You may or may not get what do you call it, sales or activation, but we actually have a core group of people who actually are our customers every month. And I think that that's, at least initially for the smaller podcasts, that's really important to know they spent the money to get a return on investment. They know, how much money they're making every month from this podcast, versus hoping and praying that eventually, if we do everything properly, and you have to do everything properly, I'm not saying that, but worrying about the customer acquisition at the end, it feels very much like you have to almost start over again to deal with people that you should have been putting into the customer pipeline initially.
Exactly. When you say like that now, it got me thinking about like how I started too. Because when I started my podcast August 12th, 2019, I was not thinking about these things, monetization, brand partnerships. Like I just wanted to talk to people. That was all I wanted. I wanted to connect. I wanted to build. I wanted to learn. I wanted to listen. From there, it grew into what it is today. And then the monetization started a year ago. It didn't even kick off in our first year. So when I think about people starting podcasts today, it's like all they're thinking about when they hear podcast is, and it's very wrong because that comes after the conversation. So why are you thinking about the money before the conversation? That's usually the idea I like to bring in, because like you said, if people are paying you monthly on merch or some type of deal or a workshop or a mastermind, that's great because that shows that there's value. But you also have to think about what the podcast is for, because some businesses today, corporations like Honeybook, for example, I'm super proud of what they're doing, right? And I'm a big fan of them because I've been working with them. And they have a podcast. So they started off as a company, but they have a podcast now, and that podcast is for their PR, so that when people listen to their podcast, they sign up to their Honeybook, account. They create their own account. So instead of them spending money on Google or YouTube or running ads, just you know, anyhow, they've now put a budget to now concentrate on attention, community building. So when they have a product to sell, they sell their product. You have to build the community first before you build the product. If you build a product and you're looking for the community, you might look forever. You may not find them, but the
You might have to
community.
repeat that again, Favor. You got to make that so the people in the back hear you.
I-
Make that so the last person just came in the room can hear you.
Key, you gotta build a community first before you build a product. If you build a product first before you build a community, you be chasing a community, and when you chase something, it's running away from you. So when you say chasing money, chasing money, chasing money, it's running away from you. You're supposed to be receiving it. You're supposed to be accepting it. You're supposed to be leaning to it. You're supposed to be yielding to it. So if you build a community that has quality, and then you bring somebody with a product, people will buy it. That's why Apple is thriving. I'm trying to figure out what to buy right now between desktop and laptop because I'm thinking, okay, what to choose because I'm thinking, okay,
I'm doing the
community
same with
time.
the iPad. I'm trying to figure out which iPad to buy.
You see what I'm talking about? So it's community. I don't have to know what you're using or how you're using it, but the fact that we share a product within a community is what the value brings to this society. So when you bring a community with a product, together, then you start to create because people are like, oh, I want to create a blog, I want to do a podcast, I want to do a show. Yeah, but start off with the community. Ask them questions. What do they want to learn? What do they want to know? Do your research and see what people are asking. Go to Reddit, see what people are asking. Then you now create your content. Then you now start to relate. If I came to you, you're wearing pink shoes, and I say, hey, nice yellow shoes, you're going to look at me crazy. It's either I don't know what color you're wearing or I'm just trying to taunt you because now we're not even communicating. Now you're just interrupting me or you're spending time doing something that you should be doing something else with. So you have to relate accordingly to the context of the communication that you're trying to send through. Communication is big. Like it's one thing we can't live without. So yeah, Reddit, Quora, what's better? I would go with Reddit. Quora is still there. Please use it if you can. Don't despise it because all platforms are great. But if you want to build community, if you want to build relevance, if you want to know what the audience is thinking, go to Reddit. There's a reason why Google partnered with Reddit and not Quora. There has to be a reason why. So that's what you would do. Put your podcast, put your links, put your, even if it's products that you sell, put them there, right? But put them in a place with context. Don't just paste the link because no one's going to click on a normal link. Put context to it. Tell them why. Did you know this and this and that? It helps. There's a podcast episode I did on Did You Know? And people were so shocked about some things. For example, like Nokia. Did you know that Nokia started off as a toilet paper company? You may not have known that. Did you know that what's the other one? Nestle started off as baby formula. That's how they started as a company. So you look at these companies that are big today and how they started. They started off with community. Okay, look at Amazon books. Okay, everyone likes books. Okay, let's send a book to everyone. And then from books, it turned into a community, a book club. A book club turned into a book company. A book company now turned into Amazon. So you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Did you know that that this is gonna sound crazy, but Lysol used to be a feminine hygiene product. That's how they started off. Then they realized Lysol is not good to be used inside your body. It's just a lot of products started off one way, and because the person, they didn't really care about the community that they were serving until after the fact, building that product first, thinking about the community second, they were able to pivot, and it was 1940s. But could you imagine that happened today? That would have been done. So you got to know your community first, and you got to go where the community is at. Otherwise, it's a wrap. Building a product first is to me the fastest way to lose all your money.
That's true. That's so true. No, hiking on that. No, I appreciate that. We'd love to hear from you as well, Miss Andrea. I know you've been here listening, and I'll come to you, Dr. Fashion, as well, and then Bridget too. I just wanted to hear from everyone. What are your thoughts on the topic? What is piquing your interest? What are you seeing? What have you observed? Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Good evening from the UK. I don't know. I think I was getting anxiety on all these things. I'm not going to lie. I'm just, oh my goodness. Gosh, there's just a lot of work to do. But I think I'm happy you said with the podcast, it's not about basically, I think anything you do in life, it's the intentions behind it, and I think for me, just on where I'm starting right now, my intention is to just create awareness and to help people and advocate for people. And I think it's about having your heart at the right place when you start anything. If you are trying to start something to just get money, then you will probably burn yourself out and then you will keep on chopping and changing anyway. So that's what I'm taking back from just listening to you and listening to other was it Sean? I think he's gone. Um it's just all about literally having the right intentions when you want to do anything in life. The platforms, the Pinterest, the podcast, like I'm doing WordPress. It's really about your heart and what you're why you're doing it. So yeah. And I think one thing I will add is that if you are doing some if you when you provide a service to serve others, naturally anyway, quality will start following up anyway. If you're doing something to just gain for your own gain, I think sometimes that can derail and go the wrong way. A lot of times, not sometimes, but yeah. And that's it. I yield my mic.
Totally. Thank you for that. I love that. It's all discipline, diligence, consistency, knowing your why, why you're taking your kid to school so that one day they can be able to take care of themselves. You know why you're investing in a house so that one day this can happen. Like we know why. And sometimes when we start a podcast, we don't know why. Like, and that's fine. I didn't know why I was starting it. I just wanted to, not do music and do podcasts for a little bit, and now I can do podcasts and music because they incorporate it now with music, original music, background music, the whole nine. So why you're doing it is so important. So I appreciate you for bringing that up too. Dr. Fashion, we'd love to hear from you. And congratulations on your big win. Passing it to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Um, One, love the topic. I am not like an active user on Reddit or Quora. However, I do use it to be a lurker. So a lot of my content ideas come from those platforms. I'm looking at some of the discussions and questions that are being asked in the forums, and I turn it into video content. So even some of my podcast videos on my YouTube channel came from Reddit questions and Quora. So I really like using it for that, but I'm not like an active user where I'm like engaging with people within the platform. However, my main thing, especially as a business, is making sure that not only am I providing great content, but coming with a solution. And that's what I've been able to do with the things that are happening on those platforms.
Love that you mentioned that you use it to because, before Clubhouse, that's where most people used to go, to listen to information, to learn something, to kind of like to get a scope of what's happening. And it's really good that, we have something to use now and build. So I appreciate you, bringing that up, as far as using it, because sometimes we may not use the platform fully, but it's enough to tell us what we need to know, and then we can go where we actually spend time, and then maybe use that as a reference, and then other people go there. So it's never wasted effort. So I appreciate that. Okay, Bridget, what are you thinking?
Oh, I'm thinking this has been a great room. Thank you so much for having it, Favor. It's really given me a lot of great ideas. I think the most important thing is that you are doing what you love doing. And when you love doing something, people will notice it. I go back to Dr. Fashion. They see that she's excited about what she's doing, and people are excited for her. And so I think if you love what you're doing, people will love seeing you love what you're doing. So thank you again, Favor. Great room.
Thank you so much, Bridget. Yes, that is so true. When we love what we do and we enjoy it, people will see the light through us. If we don't love what we're doing, then it's bad. I was looking at somebody's post today. Which country is it? I'm gonna check. Hold on. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I know the account. Let me check. There's something that I'm coming with this. Let me see if I found it. So a Chinese company. They're called okay, his name is Yu Dong Lei. I found this on Instagram. If you go to the income, I follow wealth and income, the Instagram channels. So follow the income channel, the income Instagram channel. And one of the posts it said a week ago that the Chinese company introduced unhappy leaves and said, if you're unhappy, don't come to work. Please don't come to work. And then the text says, Yu Donglai, founder and chairman of Pang Donglai, a retail chain in China's Henan province, announced that employees would now be eligible to apply for an additional 10 days of this leave at their convenience. So if a company is not happy, if a not a company, if a client, why am I thinking business? If an employee is not happy with, like, sentimentally they're not there, like production is low, quality is low, mindset is low, and people will know because their energy is just going to radiate around the room, and they tell you to leave. Imagine that happened in the US. What would that look like? And China has more people in the world. If I'm wrong, correct me. But if you look at the rating and how they're doing it in China, how they're doing it across the world, they value your mental health a lot more, than other areas. So just hearing those stats, Bridget, you were laughing. What are you thinking when you heard me say that?
I was laughing when they were saying just don't come to work. And you know what? It's probably best because productivity, if you're there and you're not liking what you're doing, you're probably not doing the best job. That was really good.
I agree. There has to be a balance. There has to be a striking balance for sure. And speaking of balancing, I put a link at the top of this room so you guys can check this link out, because it's good to also know where you're spending your energy, where you're spending your time between now and 2027. You want to see which areas, which places, have the monthly active users, where you want to be. When you look at this link, Facebook is number one, then YouTube, then WhatsApp, then Instagram. If you notice, Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram are from the same house. YouTube is also there too. Google owns YouTube. So if YouTube is there and Facebook is first, then who do you think is above Facebook if you now add everything together? It's Google. So if you look at your website being on Google, and then you have your Facebook page, your YouTube page, which is a podcast, which can be that. You have a WhatsApp business account. Like for me on WhatsApp, I use WhatsApp business. I don't use WhatsApp. There are two types: it's WhatsApp and WhatsApp business. So I use WhatsApp business. Then there's Instagram, WeChat, which we don't use WeChat here, but some people do. TikTok, Facebook Messenger, and it keeps going all the way down. Pinterest is last. Now, the fact that Pinterest is last doesn't mean that it's bad. It means that people on Pinterest go there specifically. I look at this graph and it tells me Facebook is top of funnel, TikTok is in the middle, so that's middle of funnel, and then Pinterest is bottom of funnel. Because when you're on Pinterest, you're going there with the intention to make a move. Either it's to make a purchase, to make an impression, to make a decision. You're on Pinterest to make a move. So if you're on Pinterest and you're helping people make a move closer to you, then you're the person that people can look up to on those platforms. So don't think, okay, yeah, Facebook, everyone's on Facebook. Great. Get leads, get sales, be there. Amazing. When you think about how much you're spending for the cost per acquisition for one customer compared to how much you'd be spending for the cost of acquisition for another customer or the same type of customer on Pinterest, you'd be spending less and earning more compared to spending more and earning less on Facebook. Because once the Facebook ad is done, you're done. You don't really have organic traffic. But if you're on Pinterest, you get earned traffic after the pin has been saved, after the pin has been revealed. It's just beautiful to be on Pinterest. So those are some things to do, whether you have a blog, a podcast, a book, whatever it is. Being on Pinterest is the best thing you can be on. So that's what I would say. Go ahead, Dr. Martin.
I was gonna say, like, it's interesting. This is saying the most active users. The flow I'm seeing for virality is a little different. I'm seeing TikTok topics and TikTok videos go viral first. Then I'm seeing it come over to Twitter, and like the movement with Kamala Harris and even Joe Biden. That was I saw it reported first on Twitter, and then I saw people on go to TikTok and make a video about it. The video would come back to Twitter, and then the news would carry kind of what is being said because of the tweets of the TikTok video. And then after the TikTok person saw went viral, they would respond with another video, but they would include what people say from Twitter. And then eventually, I would see it come over to Instagram once that second virality hit, and then YouTube, and Facebook is like fifth or sixth or maybe even seventh on in virality as far as the topics hitting trend and the top and the trend happening and people writing or people responding to the trend. And it's interesting how in this graphic they have uh, Facebook as the most active users. I wonder what that activity is in versus just like active, but like it's in because you have these groups that are huge. I've never seen any other place have workout groups like Facebook has these groups that have 400 and 500,000 active users every day who are working out together. But that doesn't necessarily, to your earlier statement about impact, that doesn't necessarily say those people actually impact a trend or impact a topic. They're active, but they're active doing what? You know what I mean? And so, like, this is an interesting graphic as far as number of users who are actively logging into the platform, but what are they actively logging into, and what are they impacting when they're on that platform? So I see this as, and if TikTok makes it through whatever situation happens in 2025, I see honestly, I would say, if you're not on TikTok and you don't have an affiliate store or you have an affiliate shop, you're gonna miss one of the biggest holiday seasons this planet has ever seen. There's gonna be so much money being made from September till November. Maybe after Thanksgiving, it'll slow down. It's gonna be crazy. I mean, we have people in our group that have made $6,000 in 2 hours. So the next 3 to 4 months is going to be crazy. And I don't see the new administration, whether it's Trump or Kamala, saying no, TikTok needs to go away. But maybe they will. I just see it as some kind of deal that happen because the platform is so it moves money. It literally moves money. Anyway, information, moving information, movies, ideas, streaming, content. I see that also TikTok as being one of the first places that information gets moved, and maybe the second place as being as powerful as Instagram, and then coming up strong third is YouTube. And the YouTube ecosystem to me is Twitch is in there with YouTube. They're almost interchangeable when it comes to streaming as far as gaming and that group of people that move the amount of people that watch eyeballs every single day outside of the normal you Hulu and Peacock and all them. So this is a good graph, but I think it's in this context of what's activity and what is impact.
I love that. I think if I'm going to draw the line between activity and impact, why Facebook, this is my thought process. And I'd love to hear from, anyone as well that would love to chime in too, is if you look at activity and impact, let's just use a case in point, the elections going on right now, right? The whole thing before now in November into January, everything that's going to be happening now is going to be geared towards that. Mostly everything. Now, when you look at impact, the reason why Facebook is at the top is when you think about the politicians running ads right now. Most times you wouldn't see them running ads on TikTok. You might, you just might, but majority of them would be running ads on Facebook, running ads on Instagram. Why? Demographics. They're older generations on there, the baby boomers, Gen X, millennials. Yeah, they're not active, but they have impact in the world because they're going to vote. And that voting becomes a priority because when people are looking for social media news, They go to their favorite social media platform, and first hand will be Facebook. A 50-year-old will not go to TikTok first before they go to Facebook. They might go to Google first before they even go to TikTok. They might end up on YouTube if they find something on Google. So Facebook still carries a cake because Facebook is a nation, even though we don't see much impact. But let's say Facebook goes away today, something's going to happen to the other platforms because they've been around since what, '04 or so. So you have to also think about the time they've been there. We talked about age, credit, timeline. So they have more leverage. Google has more leverage over ChatGPT. Not that there's a big disparity, but because of data analysis, models, language, evolution, morphing, all those things, I'm not knocking TikTok down. They're great. I want them to stay. But when I look at the volume when it comes to impact on demographics, psychographics, social graphics, yeah, that's where Facebook falls in. So that's what I was thinking when you were speaking, and I was like, that's true. But also, there's also an element of surprise there. So we'd love to hear from you, Bridget, Dr. Fashion, and Miss Andrea. Then come back to you, Dr. Martin.
Well, I agree with you, Favor. Oh, wow. Yeah, Facebook, you can always count on the old people being on in the morning saying good morning. They have all this great motivation for the morning. So I agree with Facebook being number one for the demographic sake. Yeah, you're right on target, Favor.
Okay. Dr. Fashion, what do you think? She might be busy. Miss Andrea?
Um, I'm just trying to digest the information, really. I'll be honest with you. I'm just digesting and writing notes. It's like I'm just like doing a course and I like to write things down. So every
You
single
know
time
what's
I'm in your room, I'm always writing notes actually. I actually do not yeah, I write notes and ponder. I think this is the only room in Clubhouse I do that. But I'm digesting it.
I'm curious from the UK perspective because of the time difference and stuff. Do you guys like what happened? This past few weeks. Let's say with some of the rioting and stuff. What was reported in the U.S. was that the fake misinformation that got people riled up came from TikTok. So I thought that was really interesting, in light of how things were back in the day when we used to have the Blackberries and some of the riots that happened because of Blackberry group messaging. Um, are you seeing that as far as you like? Does information flow from TikTok impact you guys versus, we'll say, Facebook or versus I know Twitter. I know what Twitter is doing in some communities in the UK, but I'm curious to see the impact that you think it has, Facebook versus um, TikTok, to impact the UK regular person walking down the
Um,
street.
so I I don't really watch the news actually, and I got a message through WhatsApp, and someone told me make sure you're safe because today there's a riot happening in your area in Croydon, such and such. Then I thought, okay, something is going on. So I decided to call my siblings because they in the know, um, being all the time on Instagram, watching all the contents and scrolling and stuff because I don't actually have notifications on my phone when it comes to social media apps. But you say TikTok, but I was told it was Twitter. So I actually do not know. But the fake information apparently came from Twitter and something with Elon Musk having a situation with the news people here in the UK. Um, yeah, so I actually don't know because I'm hearing TikTok from you. I'm hearing Twitter from others.
Well, what's interesting is
Um,
that either way, Meta is winning, right? They got us either
yeah.
through Instagram or they got us through WhatsApp, because I'm on WhatsApp also in a lot of different groups.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point,
Yeah.
I was shocked when I saw how many people were posting through WhatsApp. So it's just it's a real, and then what Bridget said about the good morning and the motivating message, that took me back to when I used to post motivating messages on Facebook. I don't get those anymore, but I can see that some people would still be over there posting that, and that apparently is still a thing. So it's really interesting to see. And I don't know, I got a message the other day saying, I guess I signed up so that when I post a story on Instagram, it hits Facebook. And I was like, I didn't realize that. And so I have a whole bunch of posts that I never responded to on Facebook that, I was posting stuff on Instagram, but apparently I have the business account or something, and it's connected to my regular Facebook page, not my profile page. So my Facebook page, I have a Facebook page with my name on it. And so I posted stories over there too. And so it's really interesting that Meta can win this way with three platforms. I don't think anybody else, to Favor's point, even with Google, which is ultimately the winner with all the search, they have YouTube, but Meta gets to eat three times.
True. That's true. I think Meta does. No matter what, it's like you can't escape from it because WhatsApp, Facebook, so forth. I thought no one actually used Facebook, but Instagram. So yeah,
Yeah, I felt that same way.
they're
I
not
was
going
like,
away.
"Who's on Facebook?"
Yeah, literally,
But
I didn't even know who used Facebook, but yeah, I got that message, that picture message today. It was a screenshot from Facebook to tell me, yeah, keep away from Croydon's town centre. So yeah, because of the riots. So I was like, oh, people still use Facebook, but yeah.
there's this
So
new thing you can do with Facebook too. Well, it's maybe not new, but it's new to me. In Messenger, you can put a little post over your picture, look a message, and your picture. People see your picture in Messenger, and they go, "Oh, like say for instance, you just say, hey, be safe today, y'all." So I'm gonna click on that little message because I don't usually see a message on your picture, and that opens
mm,
up the picture. It's not a link. You can't link anything to it, but you can, post that to get attention. So I do see little ways that Facebook is making Facebook experience a little bit better. The challenge to me is that it's just not a profit center for me. It's definitely an attention center, but it's just a profit. I'm not able to make money instantly on Facebook like I am on Instagram, and even Instagram is still.
have you tried oh, what was it? I've been told about is it Facebook Market? Like you can sell things on
Yes,
Facebook.
marketplace. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Marketplace, that's it.
And
Yeah.
you can leave good reviews. I've left, so I would what I am able to your point. That's a good, very good point. I'm able to actually build. I've built some really good relationships with people who have millions of followers
Right, okay.
through intentionally leaving them a testimonial on. I don't know
Okay.
what you're. I left them an excellent testimonial on their Facebook page with the video because their product was good. It was. I actually got what they said and I actually used it, and so I left them a good message. I am in their Facebook group, and I left them a good review on their Facebook page. And then what I did was I intentionally screenshot the review and said, "Hey, I just left a good review. Check it out." I left a review. I didn't say good. I left a review, and then people liked the post, and they went over there. Oh yeah, I should leave up. Da, da, da. So that the person that stood out in their mind is, "Hey, Martin, would you like to, have a 15-minute discovery call with me?" And I was like, "Absolutely, definitely." And so I think Facebook is the LinkedIn of, whereas you can build a relationship with somebody on LinkedIn or a business or a company or CEO. Similarly, I think Facebook allows you to do that with people who have a decent Facebook following, and they are making
Mm.
money on Facebook themselves. So I'm not
Hmm.
making money on Facebook, but I can build a business relationship with that person to do something else on a different platform, like LinkedIn. I can take them off of Facebook and bring them over to LinkedIn. I'm like, why aren't you on LinkedIn doing this? And like, you know what? I've been asking my guy that all the time. I just don't know. It was so funny. LinkedIn, for a lot of people who make money on Instagram and Facebook, feels foreign. So I'm able to bring them over, to LinkedIn and say, hey, let's do a live together. Let's do this conversation on LinkedIn. But that's what I've been using Facebook for, is just more relationship building.
Okay. Do you know what? The way I build my relationships right now, whilst I've been on this this room, I decided to think, okay, how can I authentically and manually and organically ask people to subscribe to my WordPress? So what I did, I recorded my screen during the day because I had problems with my laptop at work, and I just messaged people that I speak to or people that occasionally check up on me and say, "Hey, how are you? I hope you are well." I have a WordPress website, as you may know, something like that, just a short message. And I basically, I've I've sent them the screen recording of the video, and there's arrows on basically guiding them how to subscribe. And then I said, yeah, and here's a short video. It's 15 seconds. Well, the video anyway. I don't tell them that. Do subscribe, and please share with anyone you think that it will be beneficial for. Whilst when I posted it 2 weeks ago on my WhatsApp status, people just looked. Whereas now that I've sent people messages, text messages, I've DM'd them on Instagram actually, but I don't really have much followers on Instagram. But I realized that I've had more response actually.
Oh, where'd she go?
Sorry,
Okay.
I don't know what
I know,
happened
I was
there.
getting the good part.
I
It was the
just
good
sorry.
part.
I just realized I don't know how I clicked something else. But yeah, I just
It's
realized
also
that
like 10
I've had
o'clock
more
there. Is
response.
it like 10 o'clock at night in London?
No, 9 p.m., 9 p.m. Sorry, yeah. So I realized I've had more response authentically actually messaging people directly a message and saying to them, hey, how are you? Can you subscribe? Blah, 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 blah. And this is how to subscribe to my WordPress. Normally when I had a YouTube channel, I would do like tutorials how to do things. So I've realized actually doing this video and showing someone how to do it, I've had more response today. So yeah, I think it depends. But what I'm hearing from you is that I know what I need to improve on how to network, because I don't actually speak to anyone on LinkedIn. I just feel like I find it difficult to use LinkedIn because I just feel like, okay, this is professional. It's about jobs and that's it. But I realize that anytime I do pop into LinkedIn, people just promote things, they post what they do. Some things are work related, or some things are whatever someone's doing on the side, their hustle, their business, and so forth. But I haven't got the confidence yet on how to probably promote what I'm doing. I'm just very conscious of who's connected to me and work and everything like that. Yeah, and I don't really want professional people to kind of come into my personal Instagram page. But then again, what you've said, it seems like it's also a good pivotal and important tool. Well,
It,
social media platform.
yeah, and it's to make you make the decision of figure out how you can get to them. You got to figure out how you can get to them in a way that the them is the audience you want. That may not be have to do at work. So that could be a private group. There's a bunch of private groups that people probably your job don't are not part of, that still allow you. Like for instance, I'll give you one example. There's a group called, I want to say, uh, uh, again, I don't know the audience that you're looking for. So like, if you are you looking for just people to listen to the podcast, or looking for
Oh, my
moms?
WordPress.
Or
Just
what?
to read blogs. Yeah, I'm writing blogs. I'm writing. I'm just looking for people to that's had the same experience. So basically, I finished cancer treatment at the end of
Oh
May this
wow!
year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Got an I beat breast cancer, and basically, I am now speaking about the story, my journey, not the story, basically my journey, and how it was a misdiagnosis, really. But I
Oh
had to
no.
fight for my care. I had to drive my care. And if I didn't drive the care, obviously, I let obviously the reader to ponder how what I've explained, how it would be if you do not take the duty of care of yourself or your body. So you've got to fight basically to make sure things are done, checks are done again. Because I was just fobbed off the first time I went, and I told the hospital there was a problem, and they just told me there's nothing wrong, and I
Wow.
was sent away. And then because I was going through a work situation, I had to fight that, and I had a union, and I was fighting that. And then from then, and I was like, okay, I need to now go back again to the hospital, go to my general practitioner and say, listen, send me back. And I have read that they haven't done something. They should have done a biopsy when I found there was a problem. And according to the scan that they showed, there was a problem, but she still said, oh, there's nothing for me to worry about. I'm young. So, through that experience, at first, I'll be honest, I've been dealing with shame. I've been dealing with shame of the journey of everything what I've been going through, but now I'm trying to share and create awareness for people, because breast cancer just doesn't just it's not just bound to women, it's also men. It can also happen to men. So I'm just trying to write my journey and explain all the emotions I went through as well, and get to a point where I'm explaining as well as a Christian how I felt, and how I still feel sometimes towards God, and how my emotions are a bit bruised, and but I but I still do not negate the fact to pray in the morning and stuff like that. But I haven't got there yet. But that's just the plan, just to do it in doses and see if that the
Yeah,
way I've
yeah,
been
I got
feeling,
you.
if it would chip away, if that makes sense, and just
Absolutely.
talking and yeah, talking about it and expressing it, and and so forth.
It absolutely makes sense. And let me just say congratulations, and you
Thank
know,
you.
absolutely. And there are groups. One is called Breast Cancer Survivors, which I just looked up on in LinkedIn. So I would look at women centered. Also, there's a great page called the Female Quotient. QUI. Oh, hold on a second. Let me get it right. The group is called Breast Cancer Survivors, and the page in LinkedIn that I want you to go to and follow and just leave comments. And those people that comment on that page are definitely some of your readers, because the women that have been through similar experiences when it comes to medical advocacy for themselves,
hmm
they show up on this page. It's called the Female Quotient. Q
I'm
U
trying to I'm
O.
trying to look for it now.
Okay.
Am I searching wrong on LinkedIn? Because
Right. This is
I'm at
LinkedIn.
home. This is the
Okay.
thing,
Gotcha.
right?
Gotcha. But
So I'm on home. Yeah.
so you just type in the and space female and then QUO, and they probably will pop up. And they have
Oh.
555,000 followers on that page. That is a page of sisterhood, of women empowerment, and just a lot of great information. I think they actually just had a live 2 weeks ago talking about credit clarity and learning how to advocate for yourself on your credit score and stuff like that. But anyway, the reason I brought that up
hmm
is that these are your readers. These are the people that would definitely follow you. So as you interact on that page and under different people's posts, you'll be exposed to more and more powerful women, and women that are not, um, not they're vocal in their own space. You may follow some and like, oh, that's an interesting comment. I wonder who she is. And you're like, oh wow, she's the CEO of this, or she's the chief
Mm.
information officer of that company, or so that's a good place to start off. And then what happens when you click on that page and like it, to the left hand side, I'm sorry, right hand
I
side.
haven't still found the page. I don't know if
Okay,
I'm doing the right thing.
let me put it in the chat. What
Yeah.
happens on LinkedIn is similar to the Instagram for you page. Once you like a page on LinkedIn,
Mm.
LinkedIn sends you other recommendations of similar pages.
Right.
So you end up going down this rabbit hole of women empowerment, without necessarily asking LinkedIn, show me the women empowerment pages and where the sisterhood lives. I put it in the
Mm.
chat on
Yeah. I'm
here.
gonna see if I can find the page, unless I'm not good at LinkedIn. Okay, it says the female. Okay, is this in Los Angeles? Yeah,
Yes,
advertising
exactly,
services.
exactly.
It's F
Yeah.
O. Okay, okay, so I can follow the page, view the page. Okay, okay, great.
I love this connections. You see, this is what we're talking about, and this would be happening on Reddit in different communities. Exactly what just happened. This is an audio form. So I'm glad that we were able to look at it from different angles, check different platforms. Yes, LinkedIn is great. Yeah, Dr. Martin is great with with LinkedIn. Dr. Fashion is great with YouTube. Just immerse in this thing, and you never know what you can find in these platforms. Sometimes you're just not there because you're probably not saying the right thing, but when you say the right thing, the right person is going to come through. So this has been a great room. I'm glad I opened this room up, and I'm glad I didn't shut it down eventually, because I almost did. So it's good. It's good. I've been doing rooms every day on the app, and I think this is almost another 3 hour room, but I'm not gonna get it to 3 hours because we're gonna close now. But it's been 2 hours and 2.5 hours plus, and I'm glad that we have these concepts because this is where we grow, this is where we learn, this is where we know things, and then this is where we apply. So I'll be here again tomorrow. I'll pick a topic because I have a roast of topics, and we'll see. Like today's topic, yours truly, Dr. Fashion, was able to pick it. I was like, let me know which one sounds good, so I have to give you flowers for that. And I'll definitely see which platform or which topic out of
Quick
the
question,
rabbit
Favor.
hole comes out. Yeah.
How are you letting people know that you're doing a room? I know you do put a voice note, but besides Clubhouse, are you? Because I know I did get emails from you in the past. I don't think I've gotten an email recently from you, but I didn't know if you're
Hmm.
doing
That's
email.
interesting. Yeah. So what I do for Clubhouse rooms, great questions. What I do for Clubhouse rooms is I will, of course, do the Clubhouse chat, and then I would send it out when I go live. I send it to people on Instagram, and I talk about it on email, but I don't really send emails because not everybody on the email list is on Clubhouse. But the ones that are end up being here and they listen to replays. So what I've done to make everyone listen to this is I end up putting it out as an email in form of a podcast and then sending them to Clubhouse as a reference link. And if they're here, they'll be able to connect. So that way I'm not just within the app, I'm also outside, and people from outside can listen in, without having to think about being on Clubhouse, but they know it is a Clubhouse room. So that context alone allows them to feel comfortable, and they feel like, okay, let me join this Clubhouse. So in hindsight, I'm already giving Clubhouse a brand name. If I'm on LinkedIn Audio, I'll say I'm on LinkedIn Audio, and that's how they find the rooms here. So I don't usually like schedule them out. Sometimes I do daily rooms, sometimes I do less rooms, but because we're going to be 5 years next Monday for the podcast, I said I'm going to do a room every day leading up to that day. And I've been doing it since said January 1st, August 1st. So if you look at my replays, we've had them consistently, and it's either been 30 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours. Yeah, so when I'm here, you catch me here, but I always make sure in the marketing club I schedule it out so that people can listen. But there's going to come a time that for the Q4 season, I'm planning on something where I'll have the schedules out in advance and then maybe do an email and send it out to people who are interested. But that's how I've been doing it now. So I kind of like say, if you're here, if you made it, you made it. If you didn't make it, you'll hear the replay because I don't want to ping people, oh, come show up. No, those days are gone. If you're here, you're here. If you're not here, you catch the replay. But I love that it's a real time connection. And if somebody has time to listen or time to speak, then I'm all in. That's how I do it. That's just my method. But oh, definitely. I'm always open and flexible to trying new things.
No, I think it's good. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing. I now understand the flow. So I'm like, well, I don't know if I like you, but I open the Clubhouse app just to see what's happening. And I close it. I don't really, So now I'll open up with intention and say, oh, it's Favor up, it's Favor doing the room, because then I'll look for you intentionally throughout the day.
Appreciate that. Are you on Chatter?
Yeah.
Mm,
Yes, but
okay, I was like, you gotta get in there. Okay.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I think we have, the social media. I mean, social audio apps are interesting because I don't think anybody's really got what we had years ago here in Clubhouse, and so you can have a bit better mousetrap, right? But if you don't have the audience, that's not really going to matter. The tool may be better, but if nobody's really using the tool, that doesn't help. Um, I see with what happened with how women, black women, the first Zoom call that went out for Kamala Harris, they live streamed it into Clubhouse. According to the founder, they have 50,000 people listening off the Zoom call streamed, and one of the streaming places was Clubhouse. Another streamer was YouTube. She didn't make a delineation of how many was on Clubhouse and how many was on. But anyway, I've seen now there are several new clubs for Kamala Harris on this app, and I've had 4 or 5 texts from different people saying, "Hey, are you going to so and so's room today?" I was like, "Whoa, okay, so Clubhouse must be back." Oh, But that said, we still have our issues with Clubhouse, right? So it's really difficult, unlike it was in the past, to exchange information and make a good connection like we used to could do when we had the text feature, the DM text feature. So Clubhouse has this issue. LinkedIn is a problematic platform for the tools. It's a good platform to reach people, but it's problematic because they don't give you almost any tools. We complain about tools we had on Clubhouse and what they took away, but on LinkedIn, there's no tools. So you really have to like figure it out. And then with Twitter Spaces, you might have the audience, but it'll be raunchous. There's almost no positive way. We could have a great conversation about Spider-Man versus the Hulk, but if you really want to have a conversation for real impact and learning and education, that's not the platform for that. So it's interesting to see where Chatter will end up in those different 3 different areas where the LinkedIn doesn't have the tools but it has the audience for making money. Clubhouse has the audience but doesn't necessarily, it is what it is, what they do, what they don't do here in this platform. And then Twitter has the audience, but you has no control over emotion. Chatter, we'll see what Chatter does, but I think that social audio is a very unique space, and I don't know if it's ever going to be what it was because we were in a unique time space.
Well, yeah, definitely. We can't go back in the past, but I think where we're going, if we just have hope and we all do our part, then it's all going to go well for us. I love the platform. I haven't done a lot of rooms. I've done some rooms, but I do a lot of listening, and I love the experience in itself. So, yeah, just give it some time. It's still in beta. Like, when I joined Clubhouse in November 24th, 2020, that was when things were going crazy, and by this time in 2020, I wasn't on Clubhouse. So just imagine what would happen by that time. So yeah, this is some things just to look into, but definitely it's one for the books. And yeah, time will tell. But I'm definitely an alpha beta tester. So wherever that things are happening, I'm gonna be there for sure. So this has been a great topic. Giovanni, what's up? You just came into the tail end. We've been here. It's almost 3 hours. So we wanted to just say hello to you and just wanted to hear from you. How you doing? Welcome.
Okay, you guys going back to the old school, 3 hour rooms? I don't have that kind of energy anymore. I remember when I used to do those, rooms, and I'd get cotton mouth and be like, "Give me a second, let me go drink some water." But I just wanted to say, as it relates to the title of the room, I would go Reddit for sure, only because with Quora, I find that because of their AI based response system, now it's a lot of gaming that you have to do, but you could make 2 accounts on Reddit, use a secondary account to stake a post that you've made on your main account, and then get a whole lot of attention on that real quick and real easy. As a matter of fact, the guys that run Niche Pursuits, they just figured out that Facebook is supposed to give them traffic. But they did this video, and the guy basically outlined that, you know, he was showing his charts, and you could see that the bulk of the traffic that they get is from Reddit. Right? So they take advantage of the forum based aspect that's there and people consistently talking and whatnot and staking to increase the amount of clicks that they get through on links that they have. And so, yeah, I would definitely go Reddit. But just in case you guys want to wrap it up, that's all I got for now.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we're on the Reddit gang. I would say it's like a Reddit hat, instead of a Quora hat, because there's so much you can do on that platform. So much, so much. So yeah, you're on the right side, man. And I love that you came in with that just to like put the icing on the cake. for people who are in the room listening. So we've really had a good time here, connecting with people. So I appreciate you. Bless has been here since the beginning. Ryan too, Cadillac as well. Nick, Veronica, good to have you here. Kevin, Armuno, and Ty. Now, Ty, you got a ticket on you. Um, if you cash in your ticket, you're gonna be the 349,000th member because we're at 999 right now. So if you click the link at the very top where it says Marketing Club, Ty, and you click that and you jump in, you now become an official member, and we're going to be 349,000 members. So I know it's going to be 350 by the end of this year. Every time I open a room, this app always grows, this room always grows. So I know there are Clubhouse party hats I've seen here before, and it's an international app. So when we think about activity, yeah, this is a place to be. So thank you so much for being here, Ty. I just wanted to acknowledge you because you got the pink ticket on. Giovanni, you wanted to say something?
Oh, I just as soon as you said blessed, I looked down and I thought to myself, blessed is Nigerian if I remember correctly, right? And then, but I might be guessing. But then you're Nigerian, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so just a quick peek because we're doing this now. I have family that's in Ghana. It was the 1st of July that Facebook now made monetization available in Nigeria and in Ghana. So we're actively reaching out to people that we have there to get them in our creator network so we can start growing them. So just in case, and I think Dr. Fashion got people on the continent too. I'm not sure she has them in those two countries, but like tap into your people and make them aware. Because I see a whole lot of people going in saying, "I beg, just teach me how to do it," and I'm like, find the right people to teach you how to do it. So, like, make people aware because I know large communities on Facebook where people just have like African people that just like stoking them against like the content that they have, but there was no real payout for it, just them going viral. So now, like, they can leverage those same communities to actively push their content and get paid for it. So I think that's a great development. Finally getting to the people that matter. So not that nobody else doesn't matter, but like swaths of people over there that watch content on the platform, they should be able to benefit from it now.
Definitely. There's so much we can, pull into. So yeah, if there's one, if there's anything we can pull in, we can definitely get connections out there. If we need to talk to anyone, we can find it. We're in a small world right now. It's called the World Wide Web, but it's really a world wild web. There's so much going on, but we keep staying strong and we keep staying up. So appreciate that. Yeah, definitely. There's so much to cover. So if you guys are here listening, we've been in this room for a while now. We're about to wrap up. If you want to listen to this topic and you've not had a chance to understand what's going on, I advise you to please click before you leave quietly, tap on the three dots neck below it and save this replay so that you can come back to this replay and listen. We covered a lot. I covered some statistics. I talked about the active groups on Reddit. I talked about just everything. Just listen to the whole thing, and whatever you find, please pick it, run with it, apply it, come back again tomorrow so we can be here with you. So thank you, Bridget. Thank you, Dr. Fashion. Thank you, Dr. Martin, Miss Andrea, Giovanni, Bless, Nick, Marsha, Ryan, Cadillac, Kevin, Armuno, Ty, Ola, and Sheriff. You're all appreciated. Thank you so much for joining this day. And I'm going to catch you guys in the Clubhouse streets. Bye for now.
Thank you for your time, Favor.
You're welcome.